I should be audible, and in a minute, Gemma should be audible, right?
Hello.
Almost. And now I have to futz around.
Hello. Futzing, futzing, futzing. Do you know the last time we did this was 11th of November?
It's been a while. It's been a
It
long
has
while.
it has been a hot minute, that's for sure. But you've been busy.
I have. Give me
You
one
haven't got time
second.
for us. That's all right. I'm not gonna ask you.
There we
I'm
go.
gonna
Okay, now we're all happy. Cool. Now I can hear you and everything. It's wonderful. Yeah, I've been busy. It's been
Yay.
it's been quite a time. Let me do our stream advertisement because it's been a long while. Um, People are asking some exciting questions about whether we're open or not. Boop 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 boop. It's another first one in a while, so I'll just paste this as always.
Ah no.
Wait, what? Oh, I'm like, did I do something wrong? Oh no.
No.
I usually paste these things.
I'm having a beer related problem.
You're not supposed to be drinking on stream.
What? Who said that?
Me.
No, it's okay. It's alcohol free beer, so it's not even alcoholic. That's the problem. I actually like the taste of beer,
Mm.
but now they do produce pretty decent alcohol-free options. Actually, do you know what? Alcohol-free gin really does the job. It really tastes like gin. It's very good. I
Well,
would
that's
recommend
good.
it. Yeah. Um, it's good that there's like legitimate options out there now for people who might like the taste of these drinks, but wants to cut down or maybe cut out.
I had some really interesting mocktails. There was a place, or I'm doing our like advertising.
Mm.
There was a place, what's it called? Right by me that does. It's a tiny little cocktail bar. It's like almost like a. It's like in the back room of a place. It's very like speakeasy ish,
Mm.
without seeming too pretentious, but they do a really great job with it. And they make some of their drinks into mocktails, and some of them are just incredible. Like one of them was really great. I just love having it.
See, my problem historically with mocktails has been they've been too sweet. Because
Mm,
without the rum or the gin or whatever you're putting in there, it is a lot of sweet flavors that typically go into cocktails, right? So, but now that they have these alcohol-free versions of most of the spirits, it means that, yeah, you can get a mocktail and it's not, yeah, you still get the taste. I mean, yeah, so I like the taste of beer. So, I am glad that someone is out there working hard. It's not completely alcohol free. There is a someone told me that it's like 0.5% or something.
oh, it's one of those. Okay, okay. It's like a very low alcohol as opposed to like a.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, come on.
Oh yeah,
If
yeah.
you're
I
in
mean,
a casserole, you're probably consuming more alcohol.
yeah. No, I'm not saying it like it somehow like doesn't count as it, but I've seen that
Mm.
there are a few different approaches. Yeah, some of the approaches is no alcohol at all, and some of the approaches like very low alcohol.
I think it
Um,
depends, like, because some people can't drink alcohol at all for like religious reasons, right? So then it has to
mm.
be zero. But for those of us who are not, you know, there's not a moral reason. Moral reason? There's no. I don't have an issue of alcohol. I just don't want to drink it. Anyway, I'm not drinking on stream, Dave.
All right, fine. I get it. I get it. You're very moral. You're very like what's it called?
So
You're
this is our holiday stream then.
it's a holiday stream. It's not a holiday stream if you're not drinking. Like that's
It's the night before Festivus Eve.
oh my god, it's amazing to think that so much of the year has gone by, and we're here, just about at Christmas in
It
like
has been a weird year.
2 days. It's been a really weird year. A lot of stuff has happened, and a lot of stuff I didn't expect to happen has happened, and a lot of cool stuff has happened. It's been nuts
It does feel a little bit like we've kind of been, I don't know, like stepping out post COVID.
for sure.
Because yeah, like I guess in 2022, like when we held the WRC, COVID still was there, even though we did it,
Yeah,
right?
I mean the perception has waned. People
Yeah,
are far less. engaged with the idea that one might have COVID or get COVID or should be tested for COVID. It's kind of gone away in a sense. And I mean, let me look at the numbers actually. Let's see.
I think they're going up here a lot. No one cares anymore.
Well, there's a few different numbers, right?
Mm.
Oh, that's not good. Uh, no, the trend is up this past week or two, which is not so good.
I mean, it's gonna
Um,
be right as we go into winter. Are we in? I don't know what it's like there, but it does not feel like winter here.
yeah, what are these colors? I'm looking at these things, these colors. Um,
No, I went to a mahjong event and didn't catch COVID, so
what? Impossible.
I know I'm going to take that as a because I caught COVID pretty bad after Vienna. So I'm going to say if you can now attend events and not, you see, like you got to a point, right? Like for sure you'd catch COVID. If you went into a room with more than 3 people, that's it, you got COVID.
There's a new I got to make sure there's not a new vaccine I need to get, but I think I have the newest vaccine.
We're not allowed to get vaccines.
Wait, why not?
They won't let us.
Wait, why?
Unless you're on the priority list, you can't get a vaccine.
That's crazy.
I mean, I don't know. I guess maybe there's limited stock. I have no idea what the motivation behind that is.
I
Like it's weird to me that you can't even buy it.
Well, it's good to know the U.S. is number 1 right now.
Always number one, Dave.
U.S. has the number 1 most recorded COVID deaths. That's exciting.
Surely that's partly due to lack of a structured healthcare system, though.
It's probably due to the political hubbub surrounding it. But
Yeah, but I mean, if people are going to, they don't want to go to hospital because they have to pay, so then they delay going to hospital until, things have sort of got extreme, right?
yeah, I'm looking at like the case
Whereas,
count.
I mean, really, in this country, people will go to the hospital for anything. You got a hangnail, people literally go to A&E. I kid you not. I mean, that's not a good thing either, but
Wait, when did this ended in July? The reporting ended in July.
okay. I'm going to take us away from
No,
COVID and show you something that my friend sent me in the post because I thought it
yeah,
was cute,
do
and I'm
that
not
because
really sure
I'm
what
just
it is.
weirded out by the fact that
Mine's
like
mahjong related, so
yeah, I'm weirded out by the fact that like
I
these
can't
numbers are
segue.
no longer visible.
Yeah, I was trying to make it so that I could segue as nicely from mahjong from COVID to mahjong, but I
Yeah, we're back,
couldn't.
Imelska. It's been a
Look,
while. What'd you get?
it's like some antique mahjong fabric. I'm
Your
not sure if
camera's
that's
like
showing very
blurring
well.
it out.
My
Yeah,
camera's blowing it.
your camera thinks it needs to look only at you.
You're right. Okay, well, it's true. My camera, I'm the most beautiful. Let me change my camera settings so that God, I'm an idiot.
No,
Webcam settings.
it's set to blur.
Oh, why is my webcam settings like what is this?
Oh, I had a question someone asked.
Change. I guess it's change background, right? Okay, no blur. I've done it. Right, let's try again. Look, is this working now?
Yeah,
It really smells quite vintage as well.
smells
Reed
fancy.
musty. So
Interesting.
I'm not
Interesting.
really sure what to do with it though. Like it's like some sort of antique fabric, and they were like, "Oh, I thought of you," and I was like, "Great, I'm gonna have this piece of fabric until my dying day now, and not know what to do with it." But it even has point sticks. Unfortunately, the point stick bits haven't really survived. They've been cut through. But yeah, so if anyone has an
Yeah.
idea for a long piece of fabric that I could make something nice out of, I don't know. But yeah, it does smell. Yeah, vintage. Yeah, that needs airing. Mm-hmm.
Well, thanks for following, Roxar.
Mm-hmm.
Look at me. I know things. I
It's
can
not
read your
it's not
phone.
a
I'm like a
scarf.
good
I mean, they
streamer.
said it was actually from for making clothing and it's the right weight to make clothing from. I mean, they called it
Okay.
kimono fabric and I was like, well, I mean anything could be kimono fabric, right? But it's obviously something to make clothes out of. It's not heavy enough to be upholstery or anything and it wouldn't really be suitable for a scarf, so I don't know. It's not the right design for a scarf, really. But yeah, I mean, I guess it could be a kimono. It's the right sort of size.
Mm.
pattern for a kimono.
That'd
But
be kind of
the only
cool.
argument against that is that the one-man tiles are in the Chinese style.
Oh, I see. I see. I wonder
But
if getting something like that made wouldn't be a product people would want, though.
what do you mean?
Like mahjong themed kimono.
Yeah, I don't know, man. But I mean, you could say, I mean, of course, all the fabric's probably being woven in China, right? So when someone
Hmm.
made a call to China, they were like, we want some mahjong kimono fabric, and they were like, oh, I know what
Okay, I'll
mahjong
put some
looks like.
tiles on it, and yeah, like
Yeah,
do do do
exactly.
do.
Because the point sticks are very Japanese, so it's a little bit,
Yeah, I sometimes see that weird, not clash, but like mix of things, like a Chinese set that comes with Japanese point sticks,
yeah.
which is interesting to me. It's kind of neat.
But this did come from a Japanese fabric house that sells kimono fabric, so at least it's
Interesting.
I'd imagine the person knew what they were talking about.
Interesting.
Anyway, they sent it to me because I guess it was an odd piece of fabric and they had no idea what to do with it. And they were like, I know someone who likes weird
So
shit.
tell us about this mahjong event you went to. Where did you go? What did you do?
Gosh, no, I've been to Cardiff before the last time we spoke.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, so Cardiff was the event that you went to and didn't.
Cardiff was the event. It was really nice. It's the first event in Wales. So for those of you who don't know, Dave might not know, the
I don't
United
know.
Kingdom is actually four countries, he says
It's all
with
England, right?
hesitancy.
It's all
Don't say
England.
that. Never say that.
It's the
Don't say
same.
that. Do not say that. It's very offensive to some of us. So one of the countries within the United Kingdom, within the Union, is Wales. And so it's quite because most of the UK events tend to be in the southeast. And it's a bit exhausting because that really is England. So it was really nice to go to Cardiff. And yeah, I didn't play spectacularly. I didn't play bad. Middling play.
I feel like there's some getting back into the swing of doing events to have happen.
There is, but you know what really impressed me? How good people are at running events now.
Hmm.
Like there's, and you know what, the EMA events, if something goes onto the calendar now, it's it's full within a week. Like we can't hold enough events anymore in
Yeah.
Europe for the demand.
Yeah, that's been happening here too. Is like
It's
events fill up.
crazy.
Happy holidays, Peasanator.
Pez was at Cardiff as well. But apart
Yeah.
from that Cardiff event, I haven't really done much more. I did play the Final Fantasy 14
Oh, because I
event
was
run by
gone. I was at
Reki.
the convention.
Yeah, and I mean, as usual, brilliantly organized, very good fun. But I just played badly, and that really did impact my enjoyment.
It's tough. It's tough to be in it to win it sometimes. It's tough to be there. I mean, we've had the same thing here in the U.S. Actually, events just fill up like crazy. People really want to go to events and do things, and they immediately fill up. Yeah, Philly Open capped like instantly, which is really cool.
Mm.
All these people holding events and they're filling up, and it's very interesting because I'm having a lot of conversations about things like events and event structure and participation, which I think are things that we need to think about in the long term.
Okay.
These are the hot takes that I have to think
I want to
about
put a
for this
discussion
week.
topic out there then,
Okay.
because the problem for me is like if you're in the know, you get told that the event is going up and then you can immediately go and you can register, right?
Yep.
If you are not a person in the know, you do not get that heads up. So you can't immediately go in there. So by the time you've even noticed it, it's full.
Yep.
I
Well,
mean, Taylor Swift, she sells out, but she lets you know with months in advance to
I'm
everyone.
well, I believe many of these events are doing like announcements and then registration date opens. It's a
Mm,
little challenging, I think, because it is hard to have a sense. This is something we're going to work on for the
mm.
US at least is yeah, where is a central place you can go to find out that events are happening? Where is that place? And that
Yeah.
place right now, there have been some, people who put in some effort on things like this, but there's not really quite just one place.
Well,
And
the other
so,
problem is they put it out there with they immediately put the registration site up with the announcement, and then you're like, well, I have to go
yeah,
and check
Philly
with
gave people a
work.
week.
Like, oh, I mean, it's still a week. I mean, like some of us, not all of us, I guess, have to go to our bosses and ask if we can have a day off work or 2 days off work.
Well, everyone right
And
now is
I don't know,
cramming these
like
events into weekends. They're all still not sure if a 3-day event
okay,
will fly. So it's
yeah,
always just a
but
Saturday
even for
Sunday.
a weekend event, like I mean, maybe it's easier in America, but if I was to get there to be there on a Saturday morning, I have to leave on the Friday,
Mm,
and I
mm.
might struggle to get back. on the Sunday night even. Like
No,
usually,
it's a challenge, and I think
yeah.
these are all things that have to be ironed out and
And
and, and
and I'm
kind of
gonna
accounted
and I'm gonna
for.
add to it.
Mm-hmm.
Not all of us work the weekdays. Some
Mm-hmm.
of us work the weekends, right? And so, like I said, like, a week's not enough. Like if I have to go to my boss, like I think they have to give me, I have to give them like 14 days. They have to respond to me in 14 days, right? And then what if I do
As
get
if
that?
as if we had rules about that.
Oh, okay. In this country, a bit more regulated, I guess.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
there's no rules about that at all.
okay, but like someone's got to approve it, right? Now, depending on your line reports or whatever, that could be more difficult or less difficult. And then what happens if I get it signed off and like they open it at midnight because everyone else is younger than I am, and I can't stay up till midnight, and then I miss out, and then I'm like, great, I've used up my paid time off
I
on something I
mean,
can't even do. I'm not
I'm gonna
saying
be
there's anything you
honest.
can do about it, but
I'm
I
gonna
you
say
know
right now that's
okay.
probably more of an edge case. I'm gonna say
Mm.
that going from the problem of how can I ever get an event with more than 12 people going to the problem of these 80 to 100 person events are instantly filling up and
Okay.
we have more. I think that's a good problem to have for the
Yeah.
community overall. We should address it. Yes, you're right. We should find ways to make these things fair for everyone and improve. I agree. But
I guess I'm wary because both you and I have an idea of what the audience, the market should be for these events. But at some point, are we removing their ability to participate in these events?
um eh 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 I think the problem is any choice you make about an event, the scheduling, the location, the timing, ends up excluding somebody
Yeah.
somehow, right? Like
I,
there's
I
no
guess
day
you
I can
could.
pick
I
when
guess you
nobody
can. Yeah.
works.
I guess you can register and then ask for the time off, and then
You can do that and
if you don't
unregister
get the
because there's
time off,
probably
just
a
pull
waiting
out.
list. Like,
There's a wait
and
list.
again, I
Yeah.
think I think I think it's good to think about these things, but I also think we're coming at this from kind of an older scarcity mindset, where it's like, again, there's 20
Mm,
people who might want to go to this event. So if we do something silly that excludes even 4 or 5 of them, that's really foolish, and we're really kneecapping our event. And at the end of the day, these events will fill up. They'll fill up, which is great. Um, cheaper, lower stakes events. That's something you can do for
yeah.
sure. That's something,
I. I'm
frankly,
just.
like to
I'm just
tangent a little bit.
a little bit worried that we'll exclude the adults. Do you know? I'm not saying that those of you who are a little bit more flexible than the rest
No,
of us. There's
I
anything wrong
I
with
I
that, but
agree. But I
yeah.
think right now, I mean, I don't know. Again, like I feel like this problem is a good problem to have, and the
Mm-mm.
inclusivity things that need to happen to make sure that events overall, like are well balanced and do this stuff, I think are not so wildly difficult or so uncourse correctable that like this isn't just something that'll get worked out as the player base evolves.
Mm.
So I feel okay about that. And again, I have to be honest. Having the problem of we have too many 100-person events because they all fill up
Mm.
instantly is like, okay, I
Yeah,
guess
I
this
don't
is
know.
a
I
good
mean,
place
like
to be.
I even started like this is only in my own mind. This has not been discussed with anyone important ever, apart from you guys who are all important, obviously. But I even started wondering whether we should be rationing people because as these things are starting to feed into the European events and the world events now, if someone managed to attend 10 and someone can't get their full five, is that fair? And they couldn't get their five
Hmm.
because the events are always just selling out before they manage to get there for
Hmm.
whatever reason.
I mean, I don't know about rationing per se because but it might get to the point where you have to do event lotteries.
Right, right,
Like you
right.
have to say
Well, then we really are in Taylor Swift land.
yeah, yeah. I mean, again, part of the benefit of what I've been doing is I now have a venue that can hold a small event at any time, at literally any time. When do you want it? Let's do it. I don't care. Um, and I think that is something that I should be taking advantage of, frankly, because yeah, these events fill up. These events sell out. People want to do them.
Dave is the most New York person I know, by the way. Like he told me once, I was like, "We're not be able to get this. We've got like 2 hours," and he's like, "This is New York. You just put your head out the window, you shout for it." And And then having spent some time in New York with Dave, I understand where that mindset comes from. And I understand that's his attitude towards his
It's
Mahjong
why that
studio
time.
now. Like, you want it? I'll do it now.
Yeah, let's do it now. Like, let's do it. I can do it. I can do it at any time. Like, we can seat 24 people for an event whenever you want. That's not the biggest event at all. We need to
You're,
get some
you're
more auto
just
tables
you're
in there.
just
But
so
like,
New York in the best way possible. That's all. That's all. I'm just putting that out there.
yeah, yeah. But that's why that was my panic in Germany the first time I went to Germany when it was like 5 o'clock and it's like no, everything is closed. I'm like,
Oh my word! You know
what
what,
is
Alex? So when
this?
I moved to
It's
Germany
death.
for a job, no one told me that literally nothing was open on
Oh
Sunday.
no, you ran straight into it. It must have been
I
the
did. It was
worst.
this,
The
and I was like,
worst. You're like,
"What are you telling me?
but I
There's
have
no
no food.
supermarket open on a Sunday." I had to go to the airport to get food.
So that's amazing. So I have an interesting topic. It's a little bit of a rant, but I've been having conversations with people about this lately, and I think it's a good mahjong related thing to talk about because most of the other things happening in the world lately I don't want to talk about at all.
I just don't watch the news for the best.
It's about player participation and tournament cuts. Now,
Oh, Dave.
now, now. I want to establish a baseline before we start this conversation, and I want to say that everything I'm going to discuss, no, that's not true, but a lot of things I'm going to discuss are preference.
This is personal preference. So we're talking about your
Personal
personal
preference,
opinions. Yeah.
personal
Okay.
thoughts, and I
Yeah.
do want to be really clear that I think any tournament format that we're going to bring up here because it's worth talking about should be a tournament, unless we expressly say we're making like a weird example, is a tournament format that is fair. If all the players know how it works ahead of time, fundamentally, I
Mm-hmm.
think that's pretty much fair. So yeah, I'm gonna say things better, worse, et cetera. But I do want to just be super clear. This is not a condemnation of events people have run in the past or
Mm.
structures people like, because you can like a lot of different things, and that's fine. However, going into condemnationville, no, let's not do that. But I think there's two aspects that have come up over the past few weeks in my conversation. As we've started the qualifier season, really, aspect number one is it good or not to have cuts in your event? And aspect number two is what do you do with the fact that there is the audience demands charged language? Fine. No. I want to be people are gonna quote this, they're gonna put it on Twitter. What do you do with the fact that a certain percentage of players will be demotivated to play? This is very careful language. A certain percentage of players will be demotivated to play at the point at which they feel like they can no longer win at a tournament.
Okay.
And this is a long
I
time problem. This is a long term
yeah.
problem. This is not
Okay.
like a
Okay. Let
new
me.
issue.
So I'm going to throw in a few factors there. I think every format needs to first of all take into consideration the number
Mm-hmm.
of players,
Mm-hmm.
the duration of the event, and whether you are worried about an audience or not, or whether you're only worried about the players.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're streaming or doing something else fancy, you might that really should impact the way you design your tournament. Whether you should be designing a tournament for an audience or not is another question, right?
Well, let me bring up
And
a
then the
small
other
caveat.
thing I'm going to add to you there is that in Europe, even if you're doing badly, there is always motivation to play because of the rankings.
Which is
If
important.
if you move yourself up one or two places in that individual tournament, that's still a big deal.
Let me add one interesting loop back kind of not caveat, but a loop back to
Mm.
that, which is I feel like at a large event,
Mm-hmm.
if it's designed that way, many players at that event do like to watch the final table and thusly kind of become an internal event audience, which might not be. So that's just an interesting thing to think
Yeah.
about as well. It's
Yeah,
everything you said.
no, that's exactly. But you have to make sure that you can allow them to watch you. And I
Yes.
would suggest you don't let them all stand around the table.
Yeah, and I think we've had a lot of conversations. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I'm very old school. So Tota's right. I'd be knocked out. Have a national. I think yeah. I think
Yeah.
if you have a national ranking, that gives you something to
Yeah, and
fight
then but
for,
then
something
yeah, so
valuable
I
to
mean
do.
we typically tend to have round robins in Europe. So even if you're at the bottom, you're still motivated to play your last couple of hand chan because you could be not the bottom.
Hmm. Low stakes, like most UK events, focus on one fun day of playing mahjong. The fact that there's basically no. And I think that's a tone of event. I think it's a valid tone of event. We all got together and played a bunch of mahjong. Cool.
I think Pez has a bit of perspective bias here though, because I think British people typically treat competitive events all as low stakes. And we focus on the fun. I think that's a cultural thing because I can assure you that some of the people who came to Cardiff were treating it as a high stake event because, of course, it affects their ranking.
Hmm.
just because British people are a little bit, I really don't, I really would like to, I want a word to describe our approach to, do you know what? I'd much rather be in third than win and look like a jerk. Does that make sense? Whereas I think
You look
some
like a jerk
cultures,
for winning.
maybe America, I don't know, would rather be the winner.
Well, again, it's very interesting because I've heard some things in some conversations that I found to be a little surprising in a way.
Hmm.
And I think that there are considerations people don't necessarily have. And you're right. Like a lot of my thinking is coming from these contexts of events where, like, as we in America go into WRC qualifiers, the top places are very important. Those are the
Hmm.
people who are getting the points, and the lower places aren't necessarily getting the points. And I think like there's a few things that okay. First of all, I in conversations, in public conversations, but I'm not going to name names, obviously, but these aren't like secret conversations. Some players have expressed like sentiments such as soon as I can't win, I don't want to play anymore.
Hmm.
So I go to this tournament, and as soon as I've decided by some criteria to me that I cannot win this tournament anymore, I'm out. And
I don't know who this individual is.
it's not about a specific individual. Again, this is not about a
Okay, okay,
specific
this is a
individual. These are the
generic,
sentiments that have come up
a
in
theme, a
conversations around
theme.
this. We're being very
I would,
broad, and this is not about picking on any person at all.
I mean, maybe again, just because I did this all in Japan, I would have a hard suggestion that person shouldn't play mahjong. Oh, Toad, sorry. I mean,
No, I
I
don't
just
think so. I
don't
don't think so.
feel that.
See,
Like, so one phrase which always comes up, which is really interesting, that I found, was this competitive collaboration, that you are collaborating and you're competing. If you can't respect the game and the other people to come to a table and play your best game, I struggle with that. And maybe this is where the Britishness is coming in as well. Like, yeah, I don't know.
I think it's something that you and I both struggle with because of the attitude with which we approach the game, which is as a serious competitive endeavor. And I think there's a very valid other thing, and it's kind of like what Pez said earlier. If people are viewing this tournament as me and my friends are all going to go to this big event, and also we're going to play mahjong together, and it's not necessarily in their minds the most serious competitive thing in their life, but they do want to have a good time hanging out and playing mahjong with their friends. I think that's an entirely valid way to approach an event. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. However, I will say from my side, it is okay if an event tells you we're going to play, and at some point there's going to, let's say we're going to play, at some point there's going to be a cut, and if you don't make the cut, you may come back for a further side event, or you may
Oh,
go
yeah.
off and do what you want. And at that point, the event has said your attendance is not necessary.
Oh,
Fine.
I'm a big fan of cuts. I'm a big fan of
Yeah.
cuts. Let me put
And
that
if
out
and
there
if,
now.
if you
I
do the
love
cut
cuts.
and the event says your attendance is not necessary, and then you say, well, my attendance isn't necessary, and you know what? I'm not really feeling continuing with this. I feel bad about how I did, or I'm not thrilled. I'm going to go do something else. I think that's a fine. Thank you for following Adam Machiner.
Yeah,
I,
but
I think that's
okay,
a fine decision. That's a valid
but
decision.
my problem is, if you sign up to a round robin event, you know it's a round robin, and you
Yes.
know that
Yes.
you have made a commitment to play
Yes.
all of those handchan to your very best. If you then fail to show up because you can't be arsed, I really, yeah, I don't know. No, I'm no offense if people have shared this view. It's obviously a completely valid view, but it really kind of runs counter to my ethos.
I don't think there's a way to enforce that players try that is equitable, but
But then
I
that's
do
why cuts are better.
strongly think that it should be enforced that players show up.
but but
That's the part where I think it's really not
uh,
okay.
I don't. I mean, it's difficult, but I mean, but then that's why we're back to talking about the format. The format should encourage people to still have, but then that's why a pan European ranking has really assisted the community growth.
Hmm.
Because if you drop out like that, you're going to get massive marks against your name. It's going to be terrible. You're better off having a low ranking than zero ranking or minus ranking if you've done something really heinous, you know.
And
Um,
these are things that we're thinking of as we move from a qualifying season into what might be turning into a broader ranking system past 2025. Is
hmm,
that and these are things to be discussed. Again, just to be super, super clear, there is no decision about any of this stuff. This is me talking about my personal opinion, so I don't want anyone to run off being like, Dave said it's going to
hmm.
work like this. No, 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 no. But like, I would be very much in favor of that. I'd be very if I sign up to play 8 games
Mm,
and the tournament as a structure is based around the idea that I'm going to be there to play 8 games and
mm.
obviously there's got to be some escape valve if I have a medical emergency. If there's some
Yeah.
legitimate reason that I can't be there anymore, okay,
Mm,
I can not be penalized. But if I just sulk off being like, well, I didn't do good, see you later, bye, that is
mm.
that is harming the event you're participating in, and I think that's entirely not okay.
But mahjong is unusual in this. I think Imasco just says like, I go to the and drop it a card game so I can play it. And it's like
You
same
follow
in
not to the
poker,
tournament
same
variation.
with I think Magic the Gathering. You can like if you're not doing well, you just drop out, right? And then you go and do other things. And
Yeah.
mahjong is really unusual in that respect, and that's why maybe we have
Well,
these
I do
problems.
think that kind of comes from a scarcity mindset. Like if
Mm,
going to a mahjong if there was a mahjong tournament literally every weekend, I think it would be far less painful to suggest formats like Imaska talks about, where it's like, okay, I go to the tournament, there's 120 people there, and I play the first round, and I do good or I get cut. All right, I got cut, and I don't feel bad because it's not the big event of my month. It's not. I can just go next week, And this is like obviously another hypothetical world, but it's like it's not that
mm,
bad. It's fine. I can just play more next time. It's fine. But because events are big important events for people, there are events where people are like, yeah, where they have to travel, they have to spend money, they have to
mm,
get a hotel. It's not, like the I think the challenge and expense of getting there does rightly make people feel like they want to
mm,
make sure to get value back out of that, which that
mm,
makes sense to me. And so I think that's an interesting consideration. And again, coming from my perspective, where I now have a venue, I can run events all day, all day, every day if I
mm.
want to. That's a perspective that can change. If the answer is yeah, well, I just took the subway down here. There's another event next
Yeah,
week. It's
yeah.
fine that I just got cut. It's not that big of a deal.
But but this is all feeding in even into your UMA. Like, so EMA UMA used to be huge.
Oh yeah, 30
I
10,
forget
right?
what it was. Yeah, exactly.
30
And
10.
so when you started getting to the bottom, you were at the bottom. Like
Yeah.
that was it. You were done for. Like there was just no hope anymore. And yeah, that really did, in the end, everyone I've just made myself out to be a saint. And let me backtrack on that now. Yeah, even, I've reached the bottom and I'm just miserable. I am probably not playing my best. Let's be honest about life here. Anyway, but now with the God, I can't even remember what it is. It's 515. The
It's probably
515
515. That's a fairly
Yeah,
standard
like
number.
even if I'm like, in the bottom fourth, I can easily still make it to the top two-thirds or even the top half, or I managed to jump up to the top quarter once in two Hanshan because that smaller UMA pulls everyone together. And you compare that to the ERMC that happened in Hanover, where that gentleman got like two double Yakuman or something
Oh, that one.
ridiculous.
Yeah, I remember that one. It
And
was
so,
two
and
double
basically,
Yakuza.
yeah, basically seven Hanchan were played out with. We were only playing for second place at that point. Like there was just no point anymore. And again, that's why UMA tend to be pitched where they are to try and avoid a situation like that. I mean, you could have an argument for WRC that during the qualifiers, the 515 UMA is pretty good, and we could get more aggressive as we got into the cut rounds.
Hmm.
But it is a challenge to keep people
It's a challenge.
motivated.
It's a challenge. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, but I think one of the things like Knight says, what does playing your best really mean? That's an interesting question because you're right. Like
Mm,
if I'm last in a big tournament, there's two types of playing my best. I can play my
mm,
best in the context of the table that I'm playing and doing the
mm,
best I can at the table that I'm playing, or I can play my best in the context of the tournament, which tells me I need a plus 100 game or nothing's worthwhile. And like and what I really the way I really like to phrase it to try to keep things as fair as possible is you want the stakes at the table to be reasonably even. So for example,
mm,
game 1 of the round robin, the stakes at every table are entirely even. Everyone's got 0 points. Anyone could jump
mm,
into first place. Everyone's got
mm,
it. And the nightmare situation is like the last game of this round robin tournament, you have one table with players in first, second, and third at it, and another table with the player in fourth and the 3 players that are at the very bottom.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
cool, great.
I've been in that game
Yeah.
before. Yeah.
So now, and obviously, again, no one's doing this on purpose. It's just a fluke of seeding. But now, okay, great. So the top 3 players are all fighting against each other desperately in a knife fight, trying to get their position and taking points from each other. And the player in fourth is stuck with players who, if they're playing for the tournament structure or they're just tilted, as people say, or like
Yeah.
whatever. They're just hucking tiles everywhere. Player in fourth can just win a big old plus 80, plus 90 if they're actually skilled and can pull that off of players who don't care because they're fishing for Yakuman. And now guess what? Player in fourth jets up to first, and first, second, and third are now second, third, and fourth in whatever order they manage to get out of it. And is that cool or fair or satisfying? I mean, okay, it's fair because everyone knew it was a flat round robin coming in, so they knew what the structure was. Is it cool? I don't think so. I don't like. And that same ERMC, that same ERMC, that's the one where I came in third because I'm okay at Mahjong. But I came in third.
That I mean, to be fair, that event prompted a huge review of the ratings and the rules.
Well, the part of that I'm going to complain about is I came in third, and I never played the player in second at all. I never contacted them. And like, it's not about, I should have been in second. I'm going to delete this spammer. But it's just like this weird situation where it's like, should that be how this ends? Where like players in the top places maybe even never played each other? I don't like that.
I mean, I agree with you. I think the problem is I can see it from all of these different angles, and
that's why I say there's a lot of valid conversation about this. Definitely not an easy answer conversation.
And it is harder to solve in 2-day events.
And in 2-day events where people have traveled and they want to play as much as they can. They want to get value out of it.
But the thing is, if you've got a 3-day event and you tell people you're qualifying over the 2 days for a cut system that happens on the 3rd day, that does give people time to feel that they've got their money's worth.
Hopefully.
But I've been to 2-day events where a cut has happened after the 1st day. And yeah, it doesn't feel good to be knocked out. I'm like, oh great, I spent 500 quid to, just kind of derp around on the 2nd day.
See, I remain in favor of like divisioning, where it's like you cut. In other words, if I have a 40-person, is a 40-person event good for this? Yeah, a 40-person event gets cut into 5 8-person divisions, and then each of those divisions play playoffs for the placement within that area. So like the top 8 play for 1 to 8, the next 8 play for 9 to 16, and you go into the playoff format.
We did that at the ERMC in UK, didn't we?
I think so. Yeah.
You were a ref for.
And I refed that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like that format. What I do like about that is
I didn't like the format.
Well, I mean, maybe there's reasons not to. The thing that I like about that is, one, it does expose players to that playoff format, and I think the more players get exposed to that format and prepared for that format, the better they'll do with it. I think it's a healthy thing for players to do, and I do like the fact that after the cut, everyone does still have something to play for, and I think that it's true that like having a broader ranking makes that more important, or feel more important as well.
If you're at the top of that cut, it doesn't feel good at all.
But it's never gonna. There's always.
No,
I
know, but then you're like, okay, I'm now just playing a defensive position. It's just changed the entire.
Well, no,
sort
now
of dynamic.
You're starting over from cut.
Oh, you do. Okay.
Points. Yeah, you cut, and you do a full cut. So it's like,
for the
congratulations.
UK one, for the okay.
Yeah.
For the UK one, we carried it over. Okay. Yeah. Do I like that? Yeah. Again, I don't know if I do. You would always feel bad if you were at the top of that bracket.
But that's, I mean, any cut at all is gonna have someone winning the Garth Award. By the way, the Garth Award, for those who have not been doing this for a bazillion years, comes out of WRC 2014, where Garth, who I love dearly and is a wonderful man, if you're watching this, I adore you, rocketed up in the early rankings. He like was, I think he was number 1 for a little bit of time. Like he was up there. And then at some point started to slowly sink down and have his lead chipped away with, until he wound up as number 33, I believe, just below the top 32 cut.
Halving points. We did that in 2014. Yeah. What Dave's just talking about. Yeah, we halved the points for 2014.
I don't know. I personally have gotten to the point of saying, boo-hoo for you. You make the cut or you don't.
Yeah, so I think for 2014 we halved the points, and then for for the World Series of Mahjong, which is a long time ago now, I forget, but there was some calculation so that you took some points forward, but not many. It wasn't half. It wasn't quite as simple as half. I forget how it worked. Like it was quite a complicated thing. Um, yeah, and M League obviously takes half. Yeah, I think I think the yeah, I think it makes the decisions at your table quite difficult because M League is a team event, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which changes things again. But it makes things quite, if you're not sitting at a table and your conditions are starting at zero, that whole kind of battle with your opponents is like, I think most people are playing. If you're doing a cut, you're usually doing 2 to 3 hand turn for each cut, right?
Mm.
And to start at zero and just battle those people you probably haven't played before, I think is quite, yeah. I think I mean, plus 20 for first place, even that would be quite, depending on your rule set. Again, we haven't even started talking about whether you've got red fives in there and other lucky things. Um, I mean, if you've got red fives,
Oy,
plus 20 is
oy,
tiny.
oy, oy. See, I just don't like the carry. I don't know. I feel like again, this is all very personal. But
I
I
think
feel like
I think
looking
you might be.
back
Mm,
and being like, "Oh, but I did so well in the last half." Yeah, you did well.
mm,
Congratulations. You made the cut. Just like everyone else who made the cut.
mm,
That's fine. That's it. Like this weird idea that again, like playing a game that is such a combination of luck and skill, this weird
mm,
idea that the points I earned in previous games are this incredible absolute measure that must be preserved because they really do absolutely measure precisely how well I did is kind of silly. Um
yeah.
and it's like, no, you made the cut. Congratulations. Now that you made the cut, we do start over. We do now play for the top 16 or the top 32, whatever we're doing. And
Yeah.
and like I don't know what pulling points forward brings as a benefit to the competitive nature of the game at all. If you're better than these people, just beat them again. Or beat them for the first time if you hadn't met them before. Just win.
Mm,
Like and it also, again, this also depends on the tournament type and the quality of play, because then also you could still get to a point where player number 1 was plus 180 and player number 32 was plus 20, and now you've got plus 90 and plus 10 past the cut. So like, all right, great. I have
mm,
to make up plus 80 in my post cut games.
yeah.
These are going to be the rough games. How am I going to do that? And so now
Especially
you
if
still
it's
have that player
snake,
coming
yeah.
in from first being like, man, I
Yeah,
I
because you
sure am
if you're using the snake, right, you're going to be sitting the first and the fourth next to each other. I'm not thinking. Yes,
for a top 16.
if yes, you're top 16, that the first and the last player would sit on the same table as each other,
Oh yeah, and then like the middle
which
two,
would make
right?
that which would make that points carryover really painful.
Yeah, it's like, so
It
what
would
is, and
really skew the game, right? Because then the person in last is
is
really having
back
to
to
make up.
fishing. They're back to pushing as hard as they
Yeah,
can to make up an initial minus 80 deficit.
yeah. Against
Like,
someone who's carrying forward plus 80 or something, maybe depending on how the carry forwards worked.
yeah, it just doesn't seem, if you're doing, in my opinion, like if you're doing the cut at all,
Mm.
then why are you holding on
I guess
to
the mentality, right, is
points?
you want to play a flat game. You're moving into a flat game, right, rather than setting a game up that's already skewed for players to start behaving in a particular way. Because yeah, if you are the top player and you're sitting with the person who's bottom of the bottom 16, then you can defend, and the person at bottom's got to go really aggressive, and suddenly the game becomes very very volatile, and then you've got your two folk in the middle going, Jesus, what am I going to do now?
First of all, Tortoise Guy, I do agree. I think there is room
Yeah.
for more and different
Oh
events, which
no,
is
yeah,
great,
yeah. And
and different types and different tries.
I would never say to anyone you shouldn't do that. I do think that sometimes people don't take a holistic view. They press one button on the control pad and they don't think how it impacts other things. Like, oh, I'm going to add red fives in. Oh yeah, well, you need to think about how that's going to affect everything else. It's fine to add red fives in, but you have to think about it. It's like when, yeah, the Europeans used to play with red fives, and then there was a big argument to bring open Tenhou in, and I was like, if you're gonna, you're gonna have to think about what you're doing here.
Oh yeah. I mean,
And
Pez
it's
Pez
fine. It's
says
fine.
people at the top
As long
actively
as you get the outcome you want.
Pez says people at the top actively trying to plus zero near the cut, but like, that's kind of fine. I don't think that's necessarily bad. If I'm at the top with my plus 180 and
Mm.
it's the game before the cut, what is my objective for this game? My objective for this game is to stay at top, which means not taking risks. But by
Yeah.
doing that, I give opportunity to everyone else at my table to get more points. Am
Mm.
I willing to give them that opportunity? Or do I try to push even harder? You're right. You're right that I don't have to take crazy risk to try to play a plus 5,000 game. But like, do I want to let other people hand points? And
I
and
think that
even if I
depends on the level of cut you're doing, right? If you're doing a top 16 cut, you probably
yeah.
can't go fall asleep at the wheel really, because yeah, if you have a big loss, who knows what's going to happen? You could really drop down. If it's a top 32 cut, you probably could have a little bit of a
Yeah.
sticking your Tesla on auto drive or whatever.
Those at the bottom are gonna. Yeah, well, that's the challenge that I have with the long term round robin events, which
Mm.
is I feel like, and this is going to be some charged language. It's not personal, but I feel like that is a poison that increases as the event goes. Players who are so
Mm.
far down that they realize that the only thing they can do is play crazily, trying to get enough points to get back into anywheresville. And after game one, that's a little unlikely. No one's probably so far down they can't turn it around unless they made some real huge mistakes or dealt into something insane. But after 4 or 5 rounds, and this is I've said this earlier, after 4 or 5 rounds, half of those players have lost.
Mm.
They have lost. Short of some kind of incredible, insane happening, they've lost, and it's fine. Again, it doesn't make them bad players, but in this event, they lost. And this weird story that people tell, oh no, I'm gonna make it back. It's gonna happen. It's gonna get better. Nah, man, it's
Okay,
fine.
but
You
now you've just
lost.
moved into the part of the problem is that we talk about these things and we map them out as if people behave rationally. Like I have seen people at the bottom just play really well, really defensively, as if they're at the top, and I've seen people play at the top like I don't know what's going to happen to them. Like, if you don't get enough points, does your parents die? Like, what are you doing? And that's part of the problem, right?
I'm just imagining their parents sitting there in the hospital, and the doctors are looking at them, going, "I sure hope these points arrive soon. They're not gonna make it." Airlift the points over to the hospital, put them in the IV bag, like.
You've all seen it, right? You've all seen that person be like, "Wow, do you know your
Yeah, do you
conditions
know
for
you're
winning?"
fine? Yeah, you don't need this. You're fine. It's like, no, my mother will die without a 10 bone marrow transplant.
Um, right, and that's also part of the problem, right? We then
Pulling
map
them
it
up
all
and
out,
turn
and
off
then
the machine.
and you're imagining that people react normally, but they don't. But then
No.
this is the other problem. This is the organizer's problem, right? You're going to hold an event. Let's say 40 people come. You're going to have 39 disappointed people.
But I mean,
It is not the greatest party to hold.
I think it's strange that Peasant says, well, the top person would, if there's less reason for the top person to win a table, it would mess up. But like, again, I just feel like this is so reversed because, like, okay, well, we have one top person who might
Hmm.
not need to play as hard as they can, and we're all upset. And people, I've heard this from multiple. This isn't just you, Peasant. I've heard this from many people. Oh, well,
Hmm.
well, the high ranking people will play a little weird near the cutoff. You're talking about like if you have a cutoff of 16 at a 100-person event, um, those top 16 people playing a little weird because they don't really need to work that hard because they're above the line is nothing compared to the bottom 50% of that event who are
Hmm.
going to play like drunken crazies throwing whatever they can in Yakuman fishing. That's a lot more people. That's 50 people playing crazy.
And
That's
you
worse.
and to be fair, you do know how they're going to play, right? Like when you sit on a table, you're going to have an idea what they're going for. Just like if you were to play a two-hand chan bracket as you go into your second-hand chan, you know how people are going to play. You know if they're going to be aggressive or on the defensive. Yeah.
But the thing is, intentionally drawing the last 3 rounds, if I recall properly, correct me if I'm wrong, if I recall properly, that's actually an agreement between the players.
Yeah, I understood that,
The
right? They
two
sit down and
players
they're
sit
like, we're going
down
to
and
draw
say,
it,
we're
right?
going to
Yeah.
intentionally draw, and they collude because it benefits both of them. And that does not happen in Mahjong. I can't sit down at the table and just be like, guys, you mind if I just take a plus minus 0 on this and you play Mahjong? Like, I can't do that. I have to play. I have to play. I mean, and if players were colluding like that, I would agree that collusion is wrong. That collusion is wrong, and that should not be happening. And that's like, I mean, in my mind, that's also a great offense is to sit down and collude with players.
Mm.
Like, yeah, hey, let's all make this game work out this way because then we all get into the cut. Like that's a thrown out of my event and banned from events level of collusion, in my opinion. That's not okay. Um, But like me sitting down at the table with 3 other players who are hungry for points and saying, well, I don't really need to get a lot of points here, so I'm not going to go crazy and I'm going to play chill because I really only need to get around plus minus 0. That's my strategy, and that is not guaranteed to me. I can still deal into something. I can still make mistakes. I still have to draw and discard every tile. So like, yeah, just someone carry everything. Oh, this isn't an EMA event, right? We don't do that. Yeah, four player no 10 for 8. Yeah, everyone just no 10s for 8 hands, and it goes to 0. Like,
don't
so
give
I think
people
it's a
ideas.
different
This is
situation.
definitely going to be
Different
happening.
situation.
Right?
Again,
Yeah.
if I saw a table do 4 player no 10 for 8 hands, I'd be concerned about cheating. I'd be like, this is collusion and this isn't okay. And those players would be risking consequences.
Okay, but who's enforcing these consequences, eh? And that's the problem here. That has been the serious problem of Europe and America and all these other places that aren't Japan, where you have to generally be signed up into a pro league who can, even if the event organizer can't do anything, you can make your complaint to the pro league, and then they'll do something. They'll be like, well, you can't be doing this. We don't have that ability, and so we have more scope for people just to misbehave.
I don't think we've run into that. I feel like, at least in America, I don't think we've run into, or at least I haven't heard. I don't see everything by any means, but I don't think we've run into like straight up bannable behavior being common, at least. But it will happen. It's one of those things, like, you can't just pretend it won't happen. It will happen at some point.
No,
We
it
will
will
need a
happen
way.
for
We will
sure.
need a way to do.
Yeah.
And again, this all comes into like broader scale national ranking type things that are on the calendar. Probably
I mean, at the
after
moment you're in that lovely phase where everyone's got
Dota
that warm
decade.
feeling, right? Everyone's like, oh, it's going to be wonderful. And then, next year you'll have a major scandal. It's going to happen.
Yeah, it's when, not if. It will happen.
Yeah.
Someone will behave poorly, and I hope it's not anyone I know and like. But like, someone will behave poorly, and you need to be prepared. So again, as we move from like year of qualifiers to a more structured ranking, that does give us, in North America at least, the ability, or in the US I should say, the ability to do things like, yeah, you're ejected from the ranking because you have cheated, or something like that. That is like a more real way to ban people. It's hard, and no one wants to worry about it, because no one wants to have that happen. Everyone wants to have a nice time playing. Everyone wants to play in good faith. Everyone wants to believe everyone else is playing in good faith, and that, I think that's a good attitude to have. And I have to be the grumpy man who's like, let's get prepared for bad stuff.
Oh no, I so totally want to be Mahjong Community's HR department. I'd love that. I get to call people in for investigative meetings. What did you think you
Fire
were
them for
doing
not
then?
attending enough
Yeah.
happy hours.
Do you think that your behavior was in line with the organization's values? I want to be the HR department.
Mm, mm.
And then I can send out like little surveys and use words like competencies.
Oh yeah, you can make everyone fill out what they do every day. It'll be great. It'll be great.
Yeah, I'll collect loads of ratings on them and I'll still not give you a bonus.
Mm, mm.
I know, like sleights of hand. Yeah, do you know what? I mean, let's be real here, Pez. I know there's cheating. Yeah, I've witnessed it happen on the table, but the evidence gathering is impossible.
That becomes really challenging. It's really hard, and I feel like what you really need is a clear reporting. I mean, these are things that EMA has done well, that I appreciate that they've done, is like a clear reporting structure, the ability to document these things, and the ability to like adjudicate them in a way that is, again, like transparent and recorded, so that there should never be a ban where it's just like, so and so just got banned because like someone at some event said they're banned now. Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, I still think we struggle in Europe. I mean, I've been accused of cheating. It was one of
Because
the
you're too good
worst
at
moments of
mahjong.
my life. No, do you know, it's when we were doing that, we were writing on the
Oh, was
sheets.
it like, oh, you forgot that Hanemon?
Yeah, no, Mangan. Someone said that I had attributed the Mangan to someone else, not myself even. I put it down the right players. Now, I would argue that I made sure that when I was doing, because I was the score writer, I put the paper in the middle of the table after each hand, and I asked people to check it was right. Now, I'm not saying I'm beyond making an error, a writing error. I was pretty confident I hadn't. I got to be honest. And the two people also didn't think I had. But of course, this guy was arguing that he hadn't got the points he he had to pay. Anyway, he felt he was down somehow. The other two didn't think that what he was saying was true either. And also, as I said, I put it in the middle of the table.
I,
He
I
could
mean,
have had the time to correct it there and then.
it
And he was
sounds
like, it was
like
like four
to be
hands back or
realistic.
something.
To be realistic, what I would say is either three people at the table are colluding to defraud this one player,
Hmm.
or read the scores, idiot.
Yeah, I mean,
Like I mean, this is something that always drives me nuts is when people hand in their signed score sheets and it's like these don't add up. It's like why did you do that? Why did you
oh,
sign it if
in
it's
the
wrong?
in the UK, we penalise people if they submit the score sheet not adding up. Because, and you know what? I've never had to offer that penalty because they
Oh,
all now all add up. So they could do it.
and
It just
it's
no
like
need to focus their minds.
one of those things that I feel like I need to impress upon people. Yeah, like once you sign it, like once you do this and you sign it, you're saying it's okay. And
I
so
think
you
so.
better
So
feel
Pez, it was me who forced that. That was me. Yeah, no, that's a long-standing thing in the UK. They got to bloody add up. Americans are not bad at math. You're
no,
bad at
no.
mental arithmetic, and
It's fine.
you need to get better at mental arithmetic if you want to be a great mahjong player.
It's not hard to
I'm
add it up.
I'm very strong. Just get your calculators out
Yeah.
anyway.
And I'm sitting here and above me is our and I'm just gonna brag. Above me are all the score sheets from WRC 2017. And I went through every single one of them and they all add up. It all adds up. This is
That,
224 people who played like
oh,
10 Hanchan and they all add up. It is possible. It is possible.
but to be fair, we only did achieve that because I made the Japanese players on each table responsible if they didn't add up. I said it in Japanese and I was like, if these don't come add up, I'm coming to you.
But like yeah, it's like people at the last one, yeah, appeal against the scores. It's like, why did you sign it? Don't, and that's one thing that I'll say. If you're in a situation where everyone gets to review the score sheet and you have to sign it, which isn't every situation, but if you're in that situation, don't sign it unless it's right. Like, don't,
Mm-hmm.
just don't.
Just check it. Just check it. I said every time I'm usually the writer on the tables. And I always support
What do
people
you feel
getting out their
motivates
calculators and
people to
checking.
act out? So what? So Granny Loves, what would you define? What are we defining as acting out? In terms of like what type of behavior? Are we talking cheating? Are we talking just like being unsportsmanlike? Like what is the scope of acting out?
I mean, yeah. I mean, the when you talk about acting out, you're talking about people like. I mean, I've seen someone literally like smash the table and the tiles fly everywhere. I've had someone becoming visibly more agitated, like really sort of like quite aggressive. And I think it's just tension, stress, and people struggle to moderate it sometimes. Usually, I mean, the times I've had to handle it as a ref, if I take them away
Hmm.
to a corner and say, look, you're going to have to calm it down or I'm going to have to ask you to leave. Um, and once they're made aware of it, I've not really had too much of a problem, to be honest. Um, I mean, I'm a person as well who will get a bit sulky sometimes, you know?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of different angles to this. I have a lot of
Mm,
different feelings about this because I feel like hmm hmm hmm. I feel like fundamentally people when they're doing things they choose to do or a hobby or
mhm,
something like that, they do it because it provides them with some kind of good feeling. Usually, right? People do
mm,
things they like doing. No, very few people will actively be like, my hobby makes me feel terrible, and I do it all the time. Like that's probably it probably gives them some kind of good feeling. And I think there's a lot of different reasons that people act out in mahjong. And I think like one reason that I've seen in the past is that they are not used to interacting with mahjong as a shared space. So
oh,
when you have people whose exposure to the game has been, I on my own sat and played it online for the years. I on my own sat and played it in a video game for years. They are not used to engaging with this as a game you are playing with other people. And so in that personal space, they'll just express themselves freely. Ah, I'm mad. Ah, I'm frustrated. Ooh, I feel good. I won. And then when they get
mm,
into a shared space, they don't regulate that because there are other people around them. And that,
mm,
I think that's not like a desire to do harm so much as just approaching it not the same way. And I think when you get into, I think also then, when you grow into trying to be seriously good at mahjong or you care about being good at mahjong, I think it's a very slippery beast to catch hold of because I think that if you want to be very good at mahjong, you have to be able to digest the inevitable constant failures. You will go from this hobby where you get a good feeling when the flashy tiles come up and you win sometimes. And then you learn some tile efficiency and you're even better and you're winning, you're winning. Okay, it's cool. And you hit this brick wall where you just don't win anymore. Everything you try to do doesn't work. Or you play against people who are wildly better than you and you get flattened. It's a bad feeling. You thought you were good at this and you're not. And again, I feel like a lot of things work this way. A lot of things work this way. Um, and I think that oftentimes leads people to have bad reactions. They don't feel good about this. They get mad. They get mad. They get angry. They get upset. And it's hard to understand that you need to like engage and digest those failures and be like, that failure happened. Okay. How do I try to do better next time? And you're going to try to do better next time for 15 years. And that's just going to be how it goes.
I mean, really, you should, I'd much rather that people said, oh, Gemma was a perfectly pleasant person to sit at the table with, rather than Gemma was a strong player.
I'd rather be feared.
No, I disagree strongly, because in the end, like, let's say you're an absolute dick, you're not going to get invited back anymore. Mm-hmm. You're going to be ostracized and people aren't going to want to play Mahjong with you.
I also think that the counterpoint to that is that the type of person who really wants to point at someone considered like a good player and be like, you lost this one game, you're not good, is like, you have a bad attitude also. Because everyone loses one game. Sometimes. Everyone.
So it reminds me of, sorry, I've got another anecdote. So I was at an event and it was, so there'd been a can, right? So the last tile was a bit kind of, it's not so obvious, right, when the cans happen. And the player on my right thought it was obviously the last tile had been drawn and discarded, and she was about to put her tiles down to say that she was tenpai. And I stopped her and I said, there's one last tile left. And she drew the tile and she won. And afterwards, one of the players came to me and they said that I shouldn't have done that, that we should have let her lose. And I was like, I would have won the table if she hadn't drawn that tile. I was like, I don't want to win that way. If I'm going to lose, I've saved the game state and I lose. That's a better outcome for me. And the lovely player bought me a bottle of wine at the next event, so I did win in the end.
Well, I mean, I think that's a very like letter of the law versus spirit of the law situation. Like, yes, by the letter of the law, you had every right to sit there and let her make the mistake and blow up the hand and do it. You, by the letter of the law, that's I don't think it's enforceable that you
I'm not sure. No, well, it's not enforceable, but I think very much you are told to help players maintain the game state. That's why you're supposed to point out if someone's got a dead hand, right? She would have got a chombo for that.
Yeah. But I don't think it would have been enforceable. I think, and there are some people who believe that that's like a competitive spirit, so to speak. I mean, yeah, I think there's a lot of different attitudes. One attitude is, yeah, that player should know. That player shouldn't be making those kind of mistakes at a competitive event. But on the other hand, I respect that general attitude of like, yeah, we just don't be crappy like that. Like allowing someone to foul themselves for no reason because you think the foul benefits you seems like a poor sportsmanship.
That player should have known, yes. Yeah. But everyone on that table would have known that I did know. So then everyone would be like, well, why didn't Gemma say something and save the game? I don't want to be the bit like, Gemma's just going to let it happen.
Yeah, I mean, there's the appearances, frankly, which is
I don't know. I have a reputation. Attitude. I feel I have a reputation. I don't want to be. I've chombo every single world event. End of story. I always chombo.
I don't think I'd feel comfortable doing that. I don't think I'd feel comfortable knowing. Like sitting there watching what's going on, knowing this player is about to make a mistake and foul themselves, and then just not even saying anything and just letting it happen.
No, I couldn't do it.
I don't think I'd feel comfortable with that at all. I'd even feel uncomfortable if I won because like it happened. Like let's say she just did it. Like I didn't even notice and she just did it. And then I'm like, oh my God, like what just happened here? I'd feel awkward having won a game that way.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Beth. No, I would be as reasonable. I'm sorry, I would be. I would be that hero. I think that's a heroic thing to do, not slow my own tone. I can't win like that. I'm sorry. I just feel gross. I would feel gross. Let's say that I got into the cutoff because I allowed someone to chombo and then I won. And what kind of shitty win is that? I would never respect myself. I have to respect myself. And this is why I'm not rich. I just want everyone to know that.
I don't know. I agree. I couldn't see myself deliberately making the decision of it is fine for my opponent to foul themselves when it's almost definitely a mistake. You know, they're not cheating. They're not attempting to do something sneaky. They're just making a goof.
Yeah.
And
Just
like it's fine for me to win because of that. Like it's just not worth it. I mean, at the end of the day, that's the other thing. Maybe this is also scarcity mentality or lack thereof. Like it's just not worth it. There's other tournaments. There's other games. It's just not worth it to be so cutthroat desperate to get to the top that I'm fine not making a very simple correction of a very obvious mistake. Like I'll either win fairly or not. Like it just doesn't feel fair to me. It feels like
no.
I'm taking advantage of someone.
No, and I thought I did the right thing. And now, that player and other players are going to think, Gemma does the right thing. I want people to think I do the
Yeah,
right thing.
yeah. I feel kind of obligated to it. Like if I, I feel kind of obligated to it.
Mm.
It's just like
Chombos are pretty commonplace.
they
I don't know
happen.
who told people that chombos aren't commonplace. They are very common. And I think another problem we have is that people think that chombos mean that you have done something bad. Chombos are to correct a
A
mistake that's
double Dave
happened.
Tundra.
Like a chombo isn't that something you've done something bad, it's a mistake, right?
Yeah, yeah. As I said, like if someone does a foul in a competitive event, I probably would not be pro. Oh, let's just not count it as a foul. Whatever, too bad. Like yeah, if you're in
Hmm.
a competitive event and you perform a foul, you have performed a foul. Like yes, that should stand. We can't not do that. But if it's in that moment where it's like yeah, telling someone oh there's one more tile, we're not ready to do that yet. Come on, come on.
Hmm.
How do you just refuse to do that out of this desire that the foul benefit you? Um. Oh, I
What
don't.
was
I
my
don't think chombos
impression?
are ever in. Well, I don't think chombos are ever encouraged to happen. But there is a competitive mindset that would say if someone else is about to do something that hurts them and benefits me, I shouldn't be stopping them because it benefits me. And that's how you are a really tough competitor by taking advantage of every possible advantage you could have. And I don't think that's a healthy mindset, but I also don't think that's an astoundingly common mindset.
No, I do. There's a few names that spring to mind who really like trying to call chombos on people, and I'm like, Jesus, again.
Oh, that's even worse
Yeah.
when you're like attempting to foul people and trying to push. Ugh.
There was one person. Again, it's another anecdote. I'm sorry, I forget what the rule is. Oh no, this is a dead hand story. So they've made a call, but they hadn't taken their tile, right? And I think in the EMA rules now, if you haven't claimed your tile within 2 draws and discards, then you're dead. I forget what the rule is.
Oh, like they
Anyway,
never took it off the table?
they never took it from the, but they made their call, they discard it, and they'd obviously just forgotten to take the tile, right?
Mm.
And the guy was so obviously waiting because as soon as the second discard went down, he's like, ref, he didn't take his tile, he's got a dead hand. I'm like, you were obviously waiting for this. Like,
Yeah.
what is your problem?
Yeah,
Like,
it's just shitty. It's just being shitty.
yeah, yeah, to your next turn,
Wait
exactly.
for
So
next.
by your next turn, I'd hope you'd notice that, that you're missing a tile. Um,
Yeah. It's
but I
like
mean, I get dead hands but not enough tile, and because I for the last WSC I had the chombo because I made a can and I forgot to take my replacement tile because I'd not played offline for 3 years by that point. Um, which is a shitty excuse, but it's the excuse I'm running with.
mistakes happen, and if I make a
Hmm.
mistake and I suffer a penalty for it, that's fine. That's my mistake. I don't like it, but okay, I made the
Yeah.
mistake. Like it's gonna happen, and no one should be ridiculed for making a mistake, a single mistake at least.
Hmm.
But like, yeah, those things of like waiting to trap people with the rules is poor sportsmanship. It's
I
poor
come.
sportsmanship, in my
We've
opinion.
we've all been at that point where we've reached and then looked at our hand and realized that actually the tiles that we saw are not the tiles we have in reality at all.
I've never done that.
I remember I remember picking up a tile and going, huh, a fifth 9-man, and then I re-looked at my hand and I'm like, oh no, what have I done?
I played a
Like I just
game.
totally reread. I read a tile just totally wrong. I don't even know how I managed to do it, but my brain had just that's what you have, and it never updated the information.
Mm, I've played a game where someone they'd somehow accidentally drawn an extra tile over the course of the game, and then they like sumoed after a discard. A new player, yeah, this is a new player.
Hmm.
Like, yeah, people you get jumbled up. It happens.
Yeah.
People make
Yeah.
mistakes. It happens. And some of those mistakes in a competitive scene have to become a penalty.
Yeah.
And that sucks, and no one likes getting a penalty, but it happens. It's a very human thing. Like getting upset about, unless like you're repeatedly no 10 reaching, or you're repeatedly just punching
Mhm.
all the tiles on the table, at which point it's like, no, you've got a problem. But like, it happens. It happens.
No, I just love no 10 reaching. You spend the entire game hoping someone else is going to win.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
please don't let me
Please
have to
take
show
this
what I've
shame
done.
from me. Please get rid of this. Um, but again, I do feel like a deliberate, and it's hard to adjudicate this in a defined way. But it is
Mm,
kind of crappy when people are sitting there trying to, or hoping, or edging people on to be like, oh, you're gonna break a rule soon. I'm gonna be able to call you on it. You're gonna break a rule
mm.
soon. I'm gonna be able to call you on it. And I feel like, just in the spirit of competition, that's poor. That's poor play.
And I just think people need to bring their best selves. Like they need to sort of even sort of put the competition, the winning, just slightly deprioritized and think about how they can be
Oh
a good
no.
human.
Yeah, it's like the number flies into your head. You're thinking of three. Oh, I drew a three.
Yeah.
Okay, Sumo, I got the three. The three, the thing I wanted, I got it. And yeah, it's like, oh no.
Well, we've all done it.
Yeah,
But yeah, I said I think we
yeah,
need
it's a
to,
mistake.
Mahjong, I said it's more than just a binary, other games where you just play one player and you knock them out or you draw, you go forward, right? Things like chess and stuff. Mahjong, it's a little bit less like that. There's more collaboration at the table. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Well, I mean, this is why EMA is, I think WRC still is very specific that you actually have to assist at the table.
hmm,
The table is expected to correct itself wherever possible before escalating an issue.
hmm. I mean, it's true.
Um,
Some people, if you're hyper competitive, and you're obeying the rules to the letter, I can't. I don't know, what can I do. I can't penalize you, even if I think you're a poor sport, because
mm,
you're obeying the rules to the letter. That's fine. And if the rules need to be changed, we'll change the rules. But you're obeying the rules to the letter. And there will be some people who are that hyper competitive. They will exist. They will be out there. They will do it.
mm,
But they're not going to be well liked if they act like that.
mm.
And that's kind of a community self-correction to some degree. But no one's going to really enjoy playing with someone who is always just waiting for you to make any mistake, and then they're going to jump on and be like, dead hand, dead hand, dead hand. It's like, all right, man, whatever.
Yeah,
I
I
don't want to
know.
hang out
Yeah, I
with you.
mean,
Yeah,
Pez, I agree. You need the community structure.
yeah. Mental game is a challenge, and kind of to get back to why people act out in mahjong. I mean, we can go even further. People who cheat. Why do people cheat? Why do people cheat? Like, what do you get out of cheating? Oftentimes, not even very much. But people want to feel like a winner. They want to be a big fish in a smaller pond. They want glory. They want to be thought of as a good player. They don't want to be thought of as a bad player. You get this in a lot of things. It's like people who are good end up cheating because they're
Mm,
like afraid of the inevitable loss that they'll take, or the inevitable bad result they'll turn in, that will
mm,
ruin their image as someone good. It's like, and you look at these people, you'll see this again across lots of different games. You'll be like, why did this person even cheat? They didn't need to cheat. They were amazing, but like they couldn't handle the stress.
mm.
They were like, every game is like, oh my god, if I don't do well here, people aren't going to think I'm amazing anymore. And
Sorry, I
so
think
there's
my results prove I do not cheat.
yeah. And again, if it's like, if you want to really be good at mahjong, prepare for a beating, because you're going to lose. You're going to lose a lot, and you're going to learn from it, hopefully, but you're going to lose a lot. It is possible to cheat. Depending on the cheat, it is possible to cheat and lose.
But it's some of like the best players in Japan. They're also just I know they make them all do those snarly faces for Emily, but they're such the sweetest people. Senta Kuma is like he's just like one of the most beautiful humans on this planet. There's nothing he wouldn't do for you. But then you see a picture of him, he's like, I'm playing serious mahjong. And I'm like, I know you. I know you're actually super nice. I know there is no way you'd hurt a fly. Like, why?
I,
Like,
I
yeah.
I would like to hope that mahjong, especially if you're playing it seriously, teaches you some empathy for the human condition,
Yes.
because everybody has a garbage game sometimes. Everybody spends the whole hand drawing nothing they want.
Mm,
Everybody deals into the big hand stupidly because they just made a mistake in how they evaluated what they should be doing. It happens to you, and it happens to everybody. And I feel like that should bring you a little bit of empathy. You know?
mm.
What is this other
Um,
person going through today? Like, I don't know, man, but maybe
yeah.
they're just having one of those bad days like I've had.
But people
And
like the Nikaido sisters, right? I mean, lots of people here probably have met them by now. Super nice.
very nice,
Super
very nice.
nice. Like all of the top mahjong players are super nice, approachable people.
Mahjong is gaming what retail is to work. Maybe a little bit, because true, yeah. When you work retail, you take a lot of abuse. Unfortunately, it sucks, but you do. You take a lot of abuse, and it sucks. I wish it wasn't that way for poor retail workers, but like you do learn a little bit that like you either get out of it or you learn to endure it and be kind to people who are kind.
I mean, yeah, Cardiff was a lovely tournament. Like, it was a really nice tournament. But I think all the UK events are like that, to be honest. Some of the events on the continent can be a bit more competitive, but yeah, the UK events are.
I get
No,
I
I
got
don't.
I
I don't
get
know. I wouldn't say the word casual like Pez said, but
I get the same
comfortable.
vibe from the current US scene, which makes me really happy. Like there's so many new
Mm,
players, there's so many people I haven't had the pleasure of meeting, I haven't had the pleasure of sitting down and playing with, but in observing them and engaging with them, it's like, I'm not that old yet because the kids seem pretty all right. And we have a lot of people who are really hyped to play Mahjong and really excited to be a part of the scene and helpful and engaging and open. And it's really great to see that continue. So I can
mm,
keep telling everyone what I've been telling everyone for years, which is just go to a tournament. If you want to go to a tournament, just go to one. Go. It'll be fine. You might not do
mm.
great for your first tournament. Your placement might not be awesome because you're not used to it, but people will be nice. People will be helpful. No one's going to scream at you, "Why haven't you memorized a score table?" or anything like that. And you'll probably have a good time playing, hanging out with people who love mahjong.
Yeah, don't memorize the school table.
Don't worry about memorizing the score
It's just a wank.
table. It's like Mopai. It's like if you play, it'll
Mm.
worm its way into your brain. Mahjong Crash Course. Oh my god, I am not quite yet ready to brag about exciting things in New York, but we have a lot of things lined up, and I'm going to be going to see if I can get even more things lined up. So I'm hoping for it to be really, really exciting. Skype called. Um, so expect further updates. We do want to do a crash course. I want to do a crash course NYC for sure. I'm still heart
Yeah.
heart set on that. NYC Tokyo Plymouth. Ooh. Crash course world tour.
You know what? Yeah. I don't. Why haven't I organized it for Tokyo yet? Why haven't I done that yet? Do you know, why am I? What's holding me back?
Well, you want to set up some meetings? I'll be over there in a month.
I think what's holding me back is just I'm out of the habit of organizing now.
I'll act as your agent, only not as
Yeah.
charming.
Yeah. I mean,
You know what I need? I need a big
mm,
poster to put up at Sparrow's Nest with your face on it.
my face.
Yes, and it needs to be sub. Underneath it should say "You should fold." We'll just put that up on the wall. It's just you scowling, and it says "You should fold."
Probably right.
We'll have our patron saints of mahjong up on the wall, so we can have Moriyama with "If everyone else played better, I would have won." We can have
That's still my favorite line.
we can, we can have Yamai with mahjong as a battle with yourself, which I think is an excellent thing to say.
Yeah.
And then we can have you scowling with "You should fold."
Just fold.
Just fold. Because everyone knows that's the truth. Just fold. Just fold.
Crash course. Do you know, I have this fear that Japan's just going to. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I haven't done
Well, for a
anything.
while we were afraid they were
I'm
going to
really sorry,
reclose. We were worried they were
Zaps.
going to reclose. Like they opened up last October, and we were worried that wasn't going to last, and they were going to get.
I mean, I am in this little sort of post
See,
2022 WRC like lull, which happens after each WRC.
mm,
Like there's all this flurry of activity, and then you've done it, and then you're like, oh, that's it. I don't have to do anything else because I'm just slowly waking up to the fact that actually 2025 is only in a year and a half now, so I probably should be doing something. Um, but once you're out of it, you just relax, right?
the
Like Dave was
thing,
like, "Oh, are you doing anything today?" I was like, "I'm just been lying on the couch. I'm
just
not been doing
laying on the couch
anything."
on my face, just like a.
Yes, like, face down. I didn't have the TV on. It's not so bad.
The thing about that phrase, "If everyone played better, I would have won," and that I always find really interesting is like if you first start playing mahjong, you first encounter the game, you think that sounds really like arrogant. You're like, that's a very arrogant thing to say, and then once you've played enough, you're just like, no, that's so true. It's so true.
See, but I've heard that kind of thing said at the blackjack table. If you'd done better, I would have been all right. And so when he said it, I was like, I hear you, but you're wrong. I hear you.
It's so God. Yeah, we should make that. Let's make that. Can we make that poster, or will that be offensive?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm thinking like if there was ever a phrase I would get tattooed on my body, it would be that one. That's what I would get a tattoo of, is that phrase. Or Times New. No. It needs to be an exoticized kanji.
Oh no.
That's what I need. Well, there's a tattoo shop that moved in right above Sparrow's Nest, so I'll go up and ask them if they can get me that.
Really? You wouldn't get a tattoo, Dave.
I don't know.
You'd never get a tattoo.
I don't know if I'd get a tattoo. I've never encountered something I wanted tattooed on me. I'll say that much.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, okay.
I've never encountered something where I'm like, this is my tattoo.
I'm pretty sure I wanted stupid shit on my body when I was a teenager, and luckily I didn't, because it'd be stupid.
No onsen for any Dave. It's fine. No, Dave is not an onsen man. It's fine.
You can go into onsen nicely now, tattoos. It's fine.
Especially if you're a Westerner, I'm pretty sure people recognize it. It's not like a sign of the Yakuza.
Yeah, do you know what? Sometimes when some of that scandal was happening of like, oh, they won't let me in with a tattoo, and I'm like, they're not really saying that. What they're saying is they don't want you white person in there. Like, you're just not hearing what they're saying.
Yeah,
what they're saying is, oh, you've got a tattoo, I'm very sorry, sir. When really they're saying, not your kind.
Yeah, it's like, we don't want you here. Let's go down the list of possible reasons we can.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've heard some real nonsense crap for why I can't do something in Japan. And I'm like, just say it. Just say it's because I'm from Kaigai. Just say it.
Maybe I should collab with the tattoo parlor and see if we can get some mahjong tattoos.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. That's the problem. I feel like the risk with any mahjong tattoo is if you're using any sort of character, then you look like someone who's had just a kanji put on your body, right?
Yeah,
that's the problem.
You want to be careful with that.
You don't want, yeah. But anyway, Crash Course. You're right. I'm sorry, Zaps. I really should just get my shit together.
Well, let's do it. Take advantage of me.
Dave's already had a conversation with me, and I've agreed that next week, after Christmas, I'm getting my shit together. So getting the shit together starts on Wednesday, because Christmas Day, and then the I ate too much day, and then
I still feel like I'd love to just get a giant kanji for stupid, like, across my whole torso.
Why?
I feel like
who's going to see that?
Funny. Exactly. And then I could go to onsen and just be like, what? I don't understand. What I don't know.
This is why they don't want our kind in their onsen.
Exactly why. 101. Yeah, most things just good. All right, yeah. So let's look at who's going to see that color. the ironic kanji tattoo. Just big stupid idiot is the phrase I got tattooed on me.
Right. So people who didn't know what Crash Course was, by the way. So I took a group of people. I think the first group was 8. The second group was 12 of people to Japan, and we went to the pro dojo and we played some games and we did some lessons, and it was a really positive experience, and lots of people got, well, not lots, the 20 people who got to do it got really good at mahjong. But because of COVID, it all kind of, so I think we did 2018, 2019, and then obviously 2020 was COVID. And then this year, I think, no, we couldn't have really organized it for this year because, everything. I mean, we couldn't even. When could we fly to Japan again? I can't even remember. Did it open?
October. It was like October of last year. It opened up. Yeah, TV Studio Prime tournament. All you can eat buffet with the stars was the best because we ate the whole buffet.
That's true. But I think it was only semi-open, right? I'm pretty sure I couldn't travel until February 2023.
Oh, I was open. I was there. I was able to be there. I didn't go until later, but I was able to be there.
I can't remember anymore. Anyway, so yeah, but then things were still like sort of up in the air about whether Japan would close down or whether it would stay open. And there was like weird things at the start, right, where you had to be on a tour or something.
they did a lot of weird things, and they were really slow to open. And so I remember talking about it back then, and there was a big concern of like, do we want to plan something even for
Yeah.
6 months out when they could just be like, we're closed? So like,
Yeah, see, the final bans were lifted in April, right? So there was a
yeah, it
lot
was
of,
it was
there
a
was,
little
yeah, it was a,
confusing.
so, right, yeah, do you know what, I haven't, and that's the other problem. I don't have my 2024 planner yet, so I
You
can't write
don't
anything
have
down.
a planner. I don't have my book, so I can't write. Oh no.
I'll write it in. I've started. I've got like one of these notepad things on my. Like, I write it on my crash course. I'd even yeah. Okay, crash course. Right, I've written it at the moment, and I don't understand why people aren't asking me this question. Why is no one asking me about the team event for WRC? Like
No one knows how
that's a
important that is.
that's a real problem. Well, it's not just like I would have thought someone would be like, well, what is that? How do I participate? Like, do people not want to know? It's just bizarre to me. Anyway, so.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Just a handful of pros to NYC. I mean, it's the finances of it all as well. Like nothing has
It
gotten
can be
cheap.
managed. It can be managed.
Yeah, I mean, maybe between America and Japan, the flights aren't. But I mean, last flight I took to Japan, it cost me £1,500, and that was the cheapest flight I could find.
That's crazy.
£1,500.
That's a lot of money.
It was. I mean,
Pez, yeah, yeah. Feel free to ping me about conventions. Very happy to talk about that.
Thanks, Hatsuva. That's the problem. I mean, I shouldn't be saying why aren't people asking me, but I haven't. I got a message from Japan this morning and they were like, so what are we going to do about the team event? And I was like, you were the ones to suggest it. You had no vision? And they're like, oh, like, what?
Surprisingly, no.
Like, this is why I hated group projects in school. Like,
Well, that means we have a lot of opportunity to talk about it and see what we want to
you
do.
see, Dave's
I'm
again,
gonna look
Dave's
for
a
the positive.
true
Looking
New
for the
Yorker
positive.
here.
Look for
We
the
got
positive.
opportunity here.
We do have
Yeah.
I think we do have an opportunity. I think it's a great opportunity, in fact.
So I think the question here is, and I don't mind sharing this all with you guys. I think their image is that each country would put in their own team of four.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, some countries just aren't going to be able to put together a team of four. Like, especially Europe, we have a lot of smaller countries. I just don't think. And like, what if you are, even the South Americans, right? We usually have two coming from each country, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
It's tough. It's tough to do that. I mean, what we really, yeah, of zero
and
point
the
four, yeah.
the other real question is this an opportunity for people to have their traveling companions come in on this kind of extra event, because it's, as far as I understand it, we're not going to have to qualify people in.
Hmm.
So yeah, exactly, Ireland is a great example there, thank you. So and that's kind of my question as well. Like, I think a lot of people who are traveling to Japan for the WRC will be bringing a traveling companion with them, right? They'll take this as an opportunity to have a holiday afterwards.
Hmm.
And so is this kind of an opportunity to have a more sort of open style event before the main gig? Is that appropriate?
Oh,
I
these are
don't
big
have answers to
questions.
these
Yeah, like these are
questions.
big
Yeah.
old questions. I don't
I
know
know,
what the
right?
best answer is to any of this.
I know, and that's kind of why I was like, really? Like, you're just dumping this on my line chat? Thanks, guys.
It is appreciated.
So we allow people to represent other nations, besides where they live or have to. Okay, no, we if you have a residency there, we allow it. But
Mm.
I I mean, that's, yeah. I don't know. I mean, but what Japan's imaging, right, is this beautiful colors of Benetton, sort of field
Right,
of
right.
people, and
Which
I'm
I
like,
mean, that would be
yeah.
super cool if it was like possible to get people there. Like if it was possible to get all those people physically there,
Mm.
which is not very easy, I don't think.
And it's only a 1 day event as well. Like, how does this play out? Like, how does a team event play out? How do you interact with each other? Or is it just basically each person gets to play one handchan that day? I Is that fun?
Yeah, yeah. It's like, how do you structure it so that it's not terrible? There's too many questions, but actually we're a little longer than we wanted to go because I got to
Oh
sleep
yeah,
a little early today to open up
Dave's got to
Sparrow's
run
Nest.
off and do things. But yes, anyway, so if anyone has any great sudden novel ideas, just ping them over to me because I have no ideas.
You're full of ideas.
I don't at the moment. I'm really, I'm a place where ideas go to die at the moment, like crash course. But I've written on my notepad, and I'll get my 2024 planner. As I said, Wednesday, everything changes.
Wait, why Wednesday?
I said because Christmas Day is the Monday. Tuesday is when I've eaten too much and I'm back to lying on the couch hating myself. And Wednesday is the new day, the new start.
Oh, okay.
I think that's
Start on Wednesday.
reasonable.
Post Christmas.
Yeah.
Start on Wednesday.
Hmm.
Collusion allowed. No collusion. Well, I guess if it's a Washizu style game, then collusion is kind of allowed.
Do you know what? Yeah, Pez, that was the most interesting time. I went to one Rashizu event and I've played Rashizu before, but the only time that was actually interesting was when you weren't allowed to look at the hands of the people on your sides and you could only look at the person opposite you, but you were colluding.
That's a little like Bridge, where it's you and your partner. Our joint country teams allowed, essentially. Yeah, I mean, there's got to be a way. I think joint teams maybe we figure out we can have the Euro team.
But unfortunately, if you are adjacent to a country, like let's say that those countries tend to hate each other, right?
Oh no,
that's the problem.
So it's got this weird checkerboard of teams. Yeah, A, B, C, D.
I started I got like my risk board out, and I was just going like, maybe we could get these people to work together, and I was like, no. They're not going to want to hang out in a team together. But that's the problem, right? As soon as you're adjacent to another country, that's the people you hate. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, that is unfortunate, but that is how it goes.
I'm not really planning WRC or a risk board. That was only partly a joke.
It would be a little funny, though.
This is going to be like some behind-the-scenes photos from 2025, and I'm just sat there with my risk board.
A little.
Anyway, David's got to go. He's a busy man. He's running his mahjong studio, and he doesn't put enough photos of it on social media for me to enjoy vicariously. Maybe that's why I'm not doing very well, because I just haven't.
Oh my god!
Haven't seen enough.
We have so many photos, and I got to finish editing my video for you.
But yes, but I want candid shots on social media.
We post those all the time.
No.
Do you follow Sparrow's Nest Studio?
I see those, but I want more like, what's Dave doing? Oh, Dave's eating a bagel at Sparrow's Nest,
Oh, that's
more
weird.
influencer slice of life stuff.
All right, I mean, if people want to watch it, I'll do it, but it's weird.
I like it. Just put it on your stories though, not on your like main grid or whatever, because that is weird.
All right, I'll do it.
Thanks.
Right.
Okay.
But thank you everyone for joining us. We're back in action. We're going to try to be back more on time again. It's crazy during the holidays. It's been a little crazy with everything going on lately, but I'm going to have more exciting Sparrow's Nest Studio stuff to say in the next couple weeks as well. So expect cool news. But thank you for joining us, and we will see you all a bit later. So have a great day. And if you're in New York, come on down. Don't just fold. Well, if you're going to just fold, do it at Sparrow's Nest Studio today, because we're open here in New York.
Oh, that was a good one, Dave.
Yeah, there we go. Just fold at Sparrow's Nest Studio. Anyway, see you guys later. Thanks so much for joining us.
See you later. Bye.